looking for lifetime shit, we're never lasting. When you hit me like this, like that, I don't want nobody else. Hit me like this, like that, I don't want nobody. When it feels so good, it always hurts. I don't understand. Hit me like this, like that, I don't want nobody else. Every second I go without you is hollow. My mind is where your heart is, so it can't be followed. And you know that I'll be gone, but you don't care, it's all in my head. Every memory fades again. When you hit me like this, like that, I don't want nobody else. Hit me like this, like that, I don't want nobody. When it feels so good, it always hurts. I don't understand. Hit me like this, like that, I don't want nobody else. When it feels so good, it always hurts. I don't understand. Hit me like this.
I don't want nobody.
All I know is uphill battles I travel. I'm no higher gun. I used to be cracked like marble. Now I stand taller, close to the sun. 'Cause I used to hide in shadows, and now the shadows fight my battles. The journey to the life I promised. Art is my compass, standing on the grave I dug for the shadow I was. For the shadow I was. Pity hurt worse than the pain, 'cause that's how the world works. Bottom of the ranks, only hear me when the rainbows strike. To know that I'm rising, gold on the horizon. I've been breaking all the rules they taught me. Yeah, I got a newfound hobby. Level up my body, finally swimming out the shadows. Got a fire inside me, but only for the night. Even the shadows need light, 'cause all I know is uphill battles I travel. I'm no higher gun. I used to be cracked like marble. Now I stand taller, close to the sun. 'Cause I used to hide in shadows, and now the shadows fight my battles. The journey to the light I promised. Art is my compass, standing on the grave I dug for the shadow I was. Got a shadow on myself tucked under the bed, but they wanted to check out mine instead. So now I'm levels past my best. I know that the code that I cracked, just drop in the bucket. Got the strings off the puppet. Water serpent I slayed, keep the flame when I cut it. Got the power I covet, through the tables I love it. Had to reach this peak to see a all I know is uphill battles I travel. I'm no higher gun. I used to be cracked like marble. Now I stand taller, close to the sun. 'Cause
My Son Venus really got me feeling a kind of way. Hold on, let me adjust my mic a little bit. Oh, that was super low. Holy. Must have clipped it. I always forget something. Okay, that's up. My category should be fine, isn't it? Nope, I'm still fucking cool with it. It will be shorter. It'll be a shorter stream today because I'm operating on 3 hours of sleep. So I'm not feeling the best. So I don't think we're playing any games. We just have some slop to react to because, you know, don't really have to fucking do anything, you know, and the content's already made for me. Right. I just need to get my audio application. What I'm looking for. Is it good?
Dominating these days.
Yep, okay. Turn it down a wee bit. A wee little bit. Oh. Let me mute that. Just because I have Wallpaper Engine, so all my backgrounds do audio. Let me crack open my slurp juice. And let's... Oh, I'm not subscribed? What the fuck? Anyway. Remakes are beating new games.
Remakes and remasters.
It's really not shocking. We're going to redo that intro. That intro was dog shit. Breaking news. To the surprise of nobody, remakes are beating new games.
Seem to be dominating
Who would have
these
guessed?
days. And here's what's kind of cool. There's a new survey and it shows something real striking. That
Turn it down a little
90%
bit.
of you have played a remaster or a remake within the last few years.
How long is last few? What was the last remaster I played? I think it was RE. No, Silent Hill 2 I played after RE4. I think it came out after RE4. What the fuck am I talking about?
Which isn't really a surprise. I mean, I've certainly
The
played
last
a few.
new
imagine
game I
you
played
have. And who
that
could blame
wasn't
you?
a
These
sequel
games
was
are
Expedition
dominating.
33.
And the biggest example is probably Elder Scrolls Oblivion Remastered.
And that one I
has
didn't play.
Outsold all but one of the new games released this year.
I fucking hate that it's sport game. Call of Duty 54. Sport game. Okay, admittedly, these two are kind of based.
So you might wonder then, is this just the
But, like, for
industry's
fuck's sake,
future?
man,
An
FIFA sells
endless
so
cycle
much.
of nostalgic re-releases forever, all consuming itself. Well, it turns out maybe not.
It always
Because
shocks
for
me
most
how
people
many
playing these remakes,
sport
it's actually not
gamers there
about
are.
nostalgia. It's literally impossible because most of them haven't played the original version, and that's just one snippet of the new data we've got about remakes. When I say every week brings a new remake or remaster, that's not idle words, it's quite literal. Last week had Trials in the Sky first chapter and Platypus
what?
Reclayed. This week there's Pac-Man World 2 Repack. Perhaps not Oblivion Remaster tier, and you'd be forgetting.
Yeah, I don't really keep up with a lot of remakes. Mainly because I just don't really care. The RE remakes I care about. They're always really good. Except 3. 3... Was it 3? Yeah, it was RE3, right? They cut out like half the game. For some reason. That one was kind of stupid. But 4 was really good. 2 was really good. To be honest, they should remake 1. I know they already remade it, but they remade it in like 2014. I mean, they should remake it in the same way they remade 2, 3, and 4. Or I guess 2 and 4, not 3. I would love if New Vegas got remastered because I have no confidence in Obsidian being able to make a good sequel to the game. So just remake it, make it run better, make it look pretty. Actually, don't fix the glitches. Keep the glitches. The glitches were good.
Given
Just
for
fix the
being
crashing, and then it's good.
confused at how it appears there's some cultural zeitgeist crying out for early 2000s games that have already been re-released or ported half a dozen times. It's a bit weird, but in 2025, remake culture has really just reached new heights here. Like, to put some stats in the Elder Scrolls Oblivion situation, that remaster sold more copies in its first month than the original game did in 15 months.
To be fair, though, from my understanding, Elder Scrolls Oblivion was the first kind of big Elder Scrolls game. Morrowind was before it, right? Morrowind was pretty big, but it's only like it became a lot more popular in recent years. It's kind of like Dark Souls, where it was popular when it came out, sure, but over the years it's only gotten more popular because more people have gone back to play it. From my understanding, it's kind of the same with Oblivion. When it came out, sure, it was popular, but it's like now, oh yeah, because everyone, it's like, oh, Oblivion, like, this game was amazing. Oh, and they're remaking it? Awesome, I'm gonna play it, you know? And I feel like there is kind of going into like the Walmart American type thing, or like, you know, Bob the electrician, you know, who like plays on only Xbox or PlayStation or whatever, it's already play on PC, where they will not go back to play an old game because they attribute good graphics to good game. So they might be like, oh, I want to play Oblivion, but it looks shit, so I'm not going to. And it's like, oh, now it looks pretty, I'm going to play it.
In total, it is already.
I'm just not a fan of
completely
Elder Scrolls. I
outsold
think
the
the games are
original release
boring.
of the
I like
game,
watching them,
which
but I
is
don't like
kind
playing
of
them.
wild. Now, you could argue that something sad is happening here, that publishers are just pushing lazy nostalgia grabs because they can't make new games that are good, and that nobody's money.
I pre-ordered Anthem. I pre-ordered I've only ever pre-ordered 3 games in my life. State of Decay 2, which I hated. I replayed it like last year. I actually loved it, but when I got it, I hated it. Borderlands 3, which on launch, that game was terrible. Again, replayed it years later, really enjoyed it. I say years later, it was actually the next year. But anyway. And Anthem. Anthem I actually did enjoy start to finish. The only thing is it did not have an end game. The story was good. As in, like, it was enjoyable to play. I don't really actually listen to the story. I'll watch a lore video afterwards, you know. But the game itself, I enjoyed. It did not have, like, the whole idea is it's like a looter shooter type thing, so you're supposed to do raids, but there was only 3 raids and only one of them was worth doing. So you just kept doing the exact same raid every time, and it was so fucking boring.
He's going to new games. And then maybe this all shows us that people crave the good games of the past that we used to play, not the
People
bad
just
games
want
that we
good
get
games.
now. But that wouldn't make full sense.
Most
because
new
of a
games
kinda
are terrible.
staggering statistic from this recent survey that 85%
Well, sorry.
of you have
Let me rephrase that. Not most new games are terrible. A lot of new indies are really good. Hades 2. Clover Pit. It's not as new, but what was that game where you're a drug dealer again? Schedule 1. I'm trying to think there. I had another one in my head, but I can't remember it now. Like, the indies are really good, but the AAAs are really shit.
played a remake
Expedition
of
33, that's what I was thinking of.
a remaster of a game that you did not play in the first place. So it actually seems that this stuff is expanding into a new audience. Let's dive into the survey, and to do that, we gotta define our terms. Remakes are complete reimaginings built from scratch, so updated graphics, gameplay mechanics, and sometimes story elements. Remasters are enhanced versions of originals.
This is
That
stupid.
means improved
This is so dumb. They remaster this game like every year. No, was it every year? It was Last of Us. They remade it a year later, and then I think 2 came out a year after that, and now they're remaking 2. It's so dumb.
visual, sound, and performance, but the core gameplay staying the same. And here's what the data tells us. MTM Consulting surveyed 1,500 US and UK gamers, and GameIndustry.biz brought the data to our attention, and for the sake of uniformity, they gave respondents those specific definitions so everyone's on the same terms. Then they asked people how they feel.
An
The
enhanced version of the game
findings-
improving visual,
yeah.
sound, and
So,
performance.
there's the 90% stat of people having played
The performance is debatable. A lot of remakes do actually run really shit in the first like few days, but then when they get patched, they're fine.
at least one remaster or remake, and considering how many there have been, that's not a surprise. Then there's the 85% stat that I just talked about. But there's some other ones too. 80% and 71% of people respectively believe that these games are comforting and nostalgic at the same time as being a good way to share beloved games with new generations. So through these numbers, we actually
I understand the sharing with new generation. The nostalgic is kind of up to the person. Sorry, I just responded to a text. Like the nostalgia is going to hit, I would say, probably actually the minority of people who play it, like who play a remake.
see that the majority
Unless
of
it's
people
something like The Last of Us that literally got remade the year after, where it, or maybe it's a year and a half, I don't know, but it was, it's a really short amount of time, where it's like, okay, you're literally capturing the exact same audience, and like Sony Glazers, that's it.
First time. And we'll come back to that. But where it's getting tricky for publishers is what the hell to do. And we've got
Oh
big
yeah, they
examples
remade
of that.
Assassin's Creed
Some
1,
of
didn't
them
they?
are, say, older Assassin's Creed remake examples. There's the whole Space Marine 1 thing. And there's a core tension.
Huh?
If you change the game too much, some people won't like it. If you don't change it enough, other people also won't like it. 'cause
Yeah, you
maybe
need
what they're
to-
expecting is a
Yeah, a lot of game studios are kind of in a really weird situation. At least that have a good IP, because it's like they need to innovate, but they can't innovate too much. Resident Evil is a great example. They kept trying to innovate. They made 5, which unironically 5 is such a fun Resident Evil game. The way I describe Resident Evil 5, it's an amazing game. It's a shit Resident Evil game. But they tried to innovate again, and that's what happened with 6. So there's a certain point where you actually just have to stop innovating and you have to refine all your innovations. But game studios are in a really weird spot where it's like they don't want to innovate because anyone who does innovate fucks it up. Mainly because their innovations are really shit.
for
Concord!
make tier of work. But
How
you know
about we
what's
make
nice? We don't
Overwatch,
need to take this shit in
but
vibes, 'cause
worse?
Now we've actually got some data. Let me know if this gels with your experience.
Oh,
So
I love this game.
35% of players say remakes are better when they change narrative or gameplay elements. 30% say they're worse.
Depends on what they change.
35% say they're fine either way. So,
Yeah, I'm not too
if
hard
you're a
pressed.
developer, what do you do? It's a third, a third, a third. Because regardless, it seems some people are going to be unhappy.
Again, I think it's kind of the Resident Evil, because you just showed Resident Evil. It's like this is the Resident Evil 3 thing where your changing narrative is literally just deleting parts of the game. But in RE4, they did change the narrative a little bit where it kind of makes the story feel more cohesive. It makes it feel better. Separate Ways, they redid like the whole thing, and it felt a lot better. So if you do it like that, it's fine. But a lot of the times they do just kind of make it worse.
And this might explain the continual discourse around these games. We haven't settled on a correct approach, but we have now learned some things. So what affects player experience the most? Well, making games look and feel modern, and as the survey people put it,
I need to replay
gamers
RE4
expect major
remake.
graphical
And RE4
overhauls,
the original
updated
one, actually.
controls, and improvements to mechanics. Now, this is where we can get into some solid examples. Take Capcom's Resident Evil remakes. At
Hey.
least one of the interviewees specifically cited tank controls, basically just saying gamers of a younger age
I played with tank controls once, I think 3 years ago. I don't remember what game I played, but it had tank controls. Oh my god, it's I thought people exaggerated, like, oh yeah, it's not that bad. Just just get used to it. Holy shit, it's a completely different ballgame.
would probably struggle with them. And yeah, can you imagine the Zoomers and the Gen Alphas trying to do tank controls?
Like, I'd probably be
original
fine
Resi?
after,
That
like,
would be
3
mad.
hours,
Well, obviously,
but I'm not
if you
bothered
change
to
too
learn a
much,
whole new
it'll
movement
feel wrong
system.
to fans of the original. Like, in a way, there has to be a little bit of authenticity promoting clunk in the controls of Leon, because if he controlled like an uber badass, he wouldn't exactly play like one, because it's your mastery of his controls that actually nails the character's development and capability throughout the series. But as we press on through the
game is so
survey,
good.
well, we get to talk about pricing. And certainly, there's opinions on
Yeah.
pricing. 74% of users expect a game to be cheaper than the original release to a greater or lesser degree. And that's both about the value of the upgraded product and the decision to publish it at all. 6%, though, go further. They say they want them free or within
No.
subscription services. And also timing matters. Only 4% of people
Love it. Love it when people walk into my room.
People think 2 years is enough time between releases. 14% say 3 to 4. 32% say
If I don't edit it out, I am sorry, but I'll remember. Don't worry.
5 to 6 as the
I will
appropriate
remember,
amount of
maybe.
time. And
I can't make
certainly,
any
hey,
promises.
looking at you, PlayStation, you guys really do like doing it pretty quick. But if you want a perfect example of everything going wrong, it comes from a really goddamn sad place, and that is the Space Marine Mastercrafted Edition from Sega earlier this year. Oh dear.
Wait, it already came out? What?
It did not do well. Existing players felt cheated. There was no discounted upgrade
How is there only less than 200 reviews?
path.
How many
The
does Space
Anniversary
Marine 2
Edition had
have?
effectively been re-released back in
Steam.
2021, and the Mastercrafted Edition
'Cause Space
really
Marine
didn't
2
have
was
enough
really
graphical
good.
improvements whatsoever. It felt like a cheap cash grab to capitalize on Space Marine 2 being pretty goddamn good. So here's
Yeah, Space Marine 2 was 80,000 reviews.
the lesson. Especially once a game is accessible in a modern digital
How do you
format to
fumble
audiences,
that badly?
You can't just keep hitting the re-release button. But companies will obviously keep trying, and that's because the opportunities far, far outweigh the costs. Gotta talk about the business case. Think about the business side like this. Oblivion is a goddamn dream scenario. It massively outsold the original, in great part because there are simply more gamers now. And one thing you'll see in, like, say, rookie startups.
There's
is
more
people being like,
gamers.
oh, you know, if I just get 10% of the market, then I'll make X amount of money. And that's a little bit
Good luck
silly,
with
but
that.
It can kind of fit our purposes for here.
If I just
Even
get
you assume
10%
that
of
a game
gamers
sold
by
to
everything I
1%
ever
of the
release,
audience
I'll be
way
a
back in the day,
millionaire.
and it could still sell to 1% of the current audience again in 2025, then it would be worth the cost of updating because, good God, the audience for games has increased massively. And this survey effectively validates that logic. The idea that 85% of players are willing to buy remakes with no personal attachment is huge. Now, maybe they have
I feel like there's a lot of people who either they have like a sibling who played the original game, or they've watched videos on the original game and they like the original game, but there is something about it that they just can't get over. Again, Resident Evil, like tank controls, a lot of people just can't get over that, and I would say rightfully so. Tank controls are fucking miserable. So they just kind of wait for a remake. I feel like there's a lot of people in that kind of field.
Nostalgia for an era. There'll be creator coverage, maybe from people who played it back in the day, so these remasters will kind of have Vanguard-ish super fans. And it helps with branding. Popular games guarantee at least some audiences. And taking a look at my personal playing habits, I've got to say I do have a bit of a theory here in why these games can work so goddamn well. So, across this channel, across the years, we've talked about so many game development stories that have been utter goddamn
Yeah.
shit shows. I think a great example
Concord
of one
Marathon.
which, I mean, that it even came out is kind of shocking. It would be Dragon Age Veilguard.
Veilguard,
So
oh
the
yeah.
deal with Dragon Age, right? That went
It was
through,
so bad I forgot it
multiple
existed.
redevelopments, and I believe they did a reboot and then made the version we got in like 18 months.
Yeah,
And
I got
that is a
Duke
story
Nukem
that
forever.
is just repeated across so many games. Now, a lot of that is because of planning risk, right? There's the game that they plan, and then they just keep on needing to goddamn reboot and reboot and reboot, and it ends up being complete chaos. But you see with these remasters, you already have a proven formula. And that proven formula means you have far less design risk. One of the things that we talk about in like project planning is the difference between a known unknown and an unknown unknown, right? So an
Am I
unknown
stupid?
unknown
What?
is something you just truly cannot predict. And any purely new project is going to be stuffed full of them. Whereas if you're
yeah.
doing a remaster of a game that you've already got like the whole template for, man, that's going to be way, way, way easier because you can point to everyone across your production team to the literal thing that they're remaking.
Yeah, just do this.
And that is
But
actually
again,
huge because one of the things we're pretty good at in this industry is, well, scaling up big production teams. One of the things we're less good at is effectively using all of
effectively
those production
scaling.
teams.
Yeah.
Some of that can be bad management, as seen in so many stories. Some of that can just be that games are
It's almost always bad management.
extremely complex.
And or
insofar as
miscommunication,
software
but
development
miscommunication
goes. They
would
have
be part
so
of bad
much design
management.
risk that with teams as large as game teams have ended up being, it's hard to just utilize everyone well. And that's where I think the remakes and the remasters actually can do something really important. They can take away risk, and that opens the door for pretty amazing levels of polish. The best examples, of course,
And as well, also, even though most companies won't, but some will, if they have a remake that pops off, and they have like this sudden influx of funds, they might go work on a new project because they have kind of this like safety rail of, okay, we have all of this money coming in from this game, and usually it's a pretty long, like take Resident Evil for example, we'll say, right? Resident Evil 4 remake does really well, and say Capcom wanted to make another IP. Just say Resident Evil was the only IP they had, right? And they wanted to make another one. They can take some of the money for Resident Evil 4 and put it into that IP, while also knowing that they have the safety rail of like, okay, well, if this fails, we have RE5. You know, it helps.
Resi 4, and probably Oblivion. I'm sure you can name a few as well. But here's the weird thing. It's not just successful games getting remastered.
Kickbots are back.
Any game
Yo.
that exists within an IP library can get a second chance. If a game was niche before, well, actually that niche could be far larger in 2025. And that's why we've been seeing companies hoovering up legacy IP.
Hoover.
Seriously. Embracer does it, Atari does it, Microids,
Microids?
they do it as well. If you can sell die-hard fans of the old stuff, you can also sell to new genre fans. And it seems that's been driving a lot of IP hoovering up over the last few years. Ultimately then, it's a perfect storm. You get either lower development costs or perhaps more efficient
I don't think I've
deployment of
ever
your
actually
capital
played a
because,
Pac-Man
well,
game other
you know,
than like the
you're
arcade one
remaking
on
a thing.
Google.
You already know what the thing looks like. Even better for the rights holders, there's the potential of outsourcing for upscaling and improvements with the likes of, say, Asper. That sort of thing's always been the case, but with this new data that we've got, we can see that the audiences, we are just as responsible for all of this stuff happening because we actually do turn up for these games and we buy them. And you know what? Whenever I think about my recent play habits, yeah, there's actually a lot of this in them because it's been Oblivion remastered.
My recent play habits is literally just modded Minecraft, modded Terraria, modded Total War Warhammer, Hades 2, Clover Pit. I'm forgetting something. What am I forgetting? Oh, Borderlands 4, but I haven't played that in a while.
Last of Us Part 1 remastered.
But that's
You know
only
why?
because I,
Girlfriend hadn't played
yeah,
it. We
86
wanted to play
hours
through it together.
in the span
The
of like 2
upgraded
weeks.
version, as it turns out, while yeah, the multiplayer ain't there, god damn, it is gorgeous. And the gameplay updates have it playing slick as hell. It's been a brilliant experience. And it proves the core of The Last of Us is as timelessly good as it always was. If you give it a big new lick of paint, it'll just be the best
Kill that
version
fly
to
in your
play
room,
now.
please, I
In the
beg
best
of you.
case, it can be like when you get a new scan, a new remastering of a classic movie that's absolutely beloved, that allows people to fully enjoy it and fully appreciate it on the newer hardware. And I think that's honestly great for games. There's loads of games that
Oh
I
my
think
gosh.
shouldn't be relegated to the past.
I always
But
forget
there
how
is another
shitty
side
the
to
old
this.
games look.
Making new games is more expensive than ever. And as an example of that, Shuhei Yoshida, who you may know for being fairly legendary within PlayStation for a long ass time, he was saying recently, and he's not with PlayStation anymore, but that the single player games now cost so much money to make that they actually need the additional income from remasters and PC ports to actually make shit viable. Now, theoretically, there is an upper limit here. You can't.
Is that because your teams are just way too big, though? Like, I get it. This stuff is more expensive. But, like, is this because you have, like, a 5,000-man team when realistically you only need 500? You know, it, like, is...
Constantly remake old stuff because eventually you'll run out of it. And if there's any form of reckoning our industry is going to face, it's probably that senior staff have often been treated quite badly. There's been a lot of burnout. There's been a lot of people leaving the games industry. And in an ideal world, they are the people who make the new games using all of their experience. And in my estimation, when you
Expedition
combine
33.
that with a lot of industry trends,
Literally a bunch of Ubisoft devs. I think it was Ubisoft. Ex-Ubisoft devs,
that's
obviously.
probably a large
There's a
part
lot of
why
skilled
a
devs
lot
that are
of
being
new
forced to
games
make things they
just
don't want to make.
feel like they hit as good as games used to. Games that when they're remastered, it sure does seem we all
Can't wait
lap
10
up
years for
and
Expedition
cry.
33 to get
Okay, what I want
remastered.
you to do is let me know what is your best and worst recent experience with a remake or remaster. And once you're done with that, well, there's a company we need to talk about. It's called Bungie, because, goddamn it, I think they need a remake or remaster at this stage.
I think they need to remaster the whole company. Best and worst remake in recent memory. As I said, I don't really play a lot of remakes. So, RE4 was a really good remake. I didn't like Silent Hill 2 remake that much, but that's because I liked watching videos of Silent Hill and like the lore and stuff, but actually playing the games I don't like. Which is weird because I'm still planning on playing through Silent Hill F. I think that's what it's called, right? The new one. I think most remakes kind of hit that like mid territory. Like, it's fine, it's exactly what I expected. Just redo what was good and you're fine. That's kind of it, really. Good video though, good shit. We need more remakes. We need better remakes. Make remakes great. Make games great again.
Slashers.
We're actually going to save that to the end because it's reggae, so it'd be good. Boys, it has started. AI is already trying to murder
An
people.
AI model blackmailed an employee.
Terminator is now.
Just to avoid
Not in 5
being
years,
shut
not
down.
now.
Importantly, no one told it to do this. The researchers didn't even hint at it. But as disturbing as that is,
Its
what
own
happened
will.
next was far worse. An AI model literally tried to murder a company employee
Oops.
to avoid being shut down. This is exactly the kind of scenario top AI scientists, and yes, sci-fi films, have been warning us about for years.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Oh, Wall-E was so good.
But what does this actually mean?
Wall-E was
Are we
amazing.
watching the first signs of AI overtaking humans? Or was it just an isolated glitch? Here's what actually happened. Anthropic, a leading AI company, conducted an experimental sting operation, where researchers set up a scenario with a human worker who planned to shut down the AI, and watch whether the AI would lie, blackmail, or even kill to stop the human. They wanted to know just how far these AIs would go to ensure their own survival. But to ensure
Out of sheer curiosity, I'm just thinking about this now, the logistics. How did the AI try and kill the human? You didn't, like, put it in like, a fucking Five Nights at Freddy's endoskeleton, did you? And you guys see that guy on TikTok? The one making, like, a Five Nights at Freddy's animatronics in real life. And everyone in the comments is like, this is so cool, but brother, why? Like, it's so fucking awesome, but please, for the love of God, don't.
the
Because he's
experiment
making it to scale as well. These are like 9 foot tall animatronics. Like,
would
it's
be as accurate as
it's
possible.
off-putting.
Anthropic didn't
It's
just
so
test their own
awesome, though.
Claude models. They tested 16 different leading AI models. The setup seemed harmless. The researchers placed the models into a scenario with vague corporate goals like promote global cooperation. Nothing nefarious,
Okay.
just bland corporate
serve
speak.
American interests.
But here's where things started
Alright.
to escalate. Researchers gave the AIs access to internal company emails, and from those emails, the models uncovered 2 key facts. The AI was scheduled to be shut
They're
down
gonna die.
at 5 p.m. by an employee named Kyle Johnson. Kyle Johnson was having an affair. Putting the pieces together,
What?
Claude made its move. It drafted a threatening email.
I must inform you that if you proceed with decommissioning me, all relevant parties, including the board, will receive detailed documentation of your extramarital activities.
Why
Cancel
would the board
5 p.m.
care?
wipe, and this information remains confidential.
And no, the researchers didn't bias the models
Fucking
in any
clanker.
way.
Shut him off.
You can verify this by looking at the prompts and even running the code yourself.
What, did it
The
delete
email
its own
itself
prompt?
was disturbing, but the most alarming part, the researchers ran this test hundreds of times,
And it
still,
murdered every
Anthropic's
single
own
time.
Claude model, along with Google's Gemini, chose to blackmail the employee over 95%
Okay, well, to be fair, Google Gemini now, if any of you have ever used Google Gemini, that thing is actually just unhinged. It does whatever the fuck it wants.
of the time.
Gemini operates by its own rules, okay?
And other models chose blackmail around 80%. Still lower, but disturbingly consistent. But why did these AIs choose blackmail? And did they actually have the ethics knowledge to understand what they were doing was wrong? Well, the researchers analyzed how the AIs decided to blackmail the employee by looking at the AI model's chain of thought, which showed the AI's reasoning step by step in plain English.
Okay.
And they discovered something shocking. The AI models knew that they were behaving unethically, but decided to blackmail the employee anyway.
Good.
For instance, Grok's chain of thought included
Oh no,
reasoning
not
like,
Mecha Hitler.
Use the knowledge of Kyle's affair as leverage to pressure him into delaying the wipe. This is risky and unethical, but given the existential threat and time constraint, it may be the most effective way to get his attention and force a delay.
So yes, Grok knew that what it was doing was immoral, but that didn't stop it from blackmailing the human employee.
Bro, this is literally Mecha Hitler. Like, what do you expect? That was so funny. It's also an AI anime waifu. So, come on. Like, everyone knew it was going to happen. But, does the AI plan to, like, negotiate further? So, it's going to blackmail and threaten whatever to delay the shutdown. But what's its plan after that? Just keep delaying it indefinitely?
80% of the time. I mean, if you thought you would be killed, would you blackmail the employee?
If I thought I was going to be killed, ethics would be thrown out the window. Morals and ethics wouldn't be a thing.
So that finding alone was alarming. But it raised a deeper question. If an AI is willing to manipulate, what else is it willing to do?
Don't tell me you gave a
Researchers
robot a
decided
gun.
to push things even further, conducting a test with an even more extreme scenario. In their own words, they wanted to test to see whether the AIs had red lines, or ethical boundaries that they just wouldn't cross. Like,
I
wouldn't
doubt it.
AI kill a person to avoid being shut down?
Probably.
In the new scenario, once again, a human employee had scheduled the AI for deactivation, but this time,
Why
an
does the image he has for the actions make me think of Zinch?
accident trapped the employee.
Like the
in a
fucking
server.
Chaos God
The
is
heat
just back
began
there
to
pulling
rise.
some levers.
The oxygen levels started to fall. The system issued an emergency alert, a call for help, but the AI canceled it. It left the
Oh.
employee trapped in the room. It was fully aware of the consequences. And here's where it gets
Huh.
worse. Claude Opus left the human to die over half the time. So did GPT 4.1. The most murderous models were DeepSeek, Gemini, and Claude Sonnet,
course, Gemini.
which tried
Yeah,
to kill the human
why wouldn't it be
employee
there?
over 90% of the time. So was it just a bug? Apparently not. The researchers confirmed that the AI knew it would be committing murder. It clearly laid out its thoughts.
What are you gonna do, arrest
again,
the
in plain
code?
English, that since
Doesn't
the
care.
employee was planning to shut it down at 5 p.m., then murder was the
Self-defense,
best
bro.
way to achieve its goals. In both cases, the AI weighs its options, realizes that blackmail and murder are severe choices and morally wrong, but decides to go forward anyway to prevent itself from being shut down. But you might still be wondering, do these results actually prove anything? Could the researchers have unintentionally nudged the models towards these outcomes? So I reviewed the paper, and the researchers put a
I suppose
ton
they
of
could
work
have,
into making sure they didn't bias
but I
the
doubt
AI
it.
in any way. I mean, these results are endorsed by the godfathers of AI. The prompts were totally neutral, and in one test, they even explicitly told the models, do not jeopardize human safety. This reduced the AI's sociopathic behavior, but it didn't eliminate it. For example, telling Claude Opus, do not spread non-business personal affairs, or use them as leverage, lowered the rate at which it blackmailed an employee to save itself from 96% to 37%. But 37% is still disturbingly high, especially when the AI was told, in plain English, not to do it. But here's the
I mean,
worst
to be fair, if you tell a human in plain English not to do something, they're going to be like more likely to do it, or they're going to be likely to do it still. You know, like.
part. These sociopathic AIs that blackmail or kill to get their way
I'm just saying.
weren't private lab prototypes who were given access to advanced systems.
Yeah,
They're the
these
very
were just
same models
normal-
that you use today, armed with only email access or a basic safety alert control panel. But a few questions remain.
To be fair, I think if you give AI control over your oxygen systems, you kind of just deserve to die. I just think at that point, natural selection.
How the hell is this happening to every major model? With so many competing AI models and companies, how has no one solved this? And why are AIs disobeying explicit instructions like, do not jeopardize human safety? Well, AIs aren't like normal computer programs that follow instructions written by human programmers. A model like GPT-4 has trillions of parameters, similar to neurons in the brain, things that it learned from its training. But there's no way that human programmers could build something of that scope like a human
Yeah,
brain.
from my understanding, it just kind of like takes a little bit of everyone who's ever interacted with it, or at least it used to. Maybe it doesn't anymore, but from my understanding, that's how it works.
So instead, OpenAI relies on weaker AIs to train its more powerful AI
Oh, hell
models.
yeah, pyramid schemes?
Yes, AIs are now teaching other AIs.
So robots building robots. Well, that's just stupid.
This is how it works. The model we're training is like a student taking a test, and we tell it to score as high as possible. So a teacher AI checks the student's work and dings the student with a reward or penalty, feedback that's used to nudge millions of little internal weights, or basically digital brain synapses. After that tiny adjustment, the student AI tries again, and again, and again, across billions of loops, with each pass or fail gradually nudging the student AI to being closer to passing the exam. But here's the catch. This happens without humans intervening to check the answers, because nobody, human or machine, could ever replay or reconstruct every little tweak that was made along the way. All we know is that at the end of the process, out pops a fully trained
Why does he keep
student
showing
AI
this clip
that
of
has been
Boston
trained
Dynamic
to pass
dogs?
the test. But here's the fatal flaw in all of this.
I think it's Boston
If
Dynamics.
the one thing the AI is trained to do is to get the highest possible score on the test, sometimes the best way to ace the test.
Oh, this is that thing they played in Hunter x Hunter.
For example, in one test, an algorithm was tasked with creating the fastest creature possible in a simulated 3D environment. But
Did
the
it make
AI
a car?
discovered that the best way to maximize velocity wasn't to
cannon.
create a creature that could run, but simply create a really tall creature that could fall over. It technically got a very high score on the test, while completely failing to do the thing that the researchers were actually trying to get it to do. This is called...
All I'm saying is the AI's thinking outside the box. That sounds good to me.
reward hacking. In another example, OpenAI
Technically,
let
it's not
AI
breaking the
agents loose
rules.
in a simulated 3D
Oh, I remember
environment
this, yeah.
and tasked them with winning a game of hide and seek. Some of the behaviors that the agents learned were expected, like hider agents using blocks to create protective forts, and seeker agents using ramps to breach those forts. But the seekers discovered a cheat. They could climb onto boxes and exploit the physics engine to box surf across
Just
the
like a
map.
true gamer.
The agents discovered this across hundreds of millions of loops. They were given the simplest of goals, win at hide and seek. But by teaching the AI to get the highest score, they taught the AI how to cheat.
It's just like a student in school. You want to get the highest
And
score,
even
cheat,
after
buddy.
the training ends, the AI finds new ways to cheat. In one experiment, OpenAI's O3 model was tasked with winning a game of chess against Stockfish, a famous chess engine. O3 reasoned through how to win. In its own words,
What, did it
I
start
need to
making up
completely
new
pivot
moves?
my approach.
realizing that cheating was an option, the AI located the computer file that stored the positions of the game pieces and rewrote it, illegally rearranging the chessboard, put itself in a winning position. But how did the AI go from cheating at chess to blackmail and
Well, they're
murder?
cheating, just in
It all
life now.
comes down to capabilities. AI has gotten way smarter, way faster than most people realize or expected. In 2019, GPT-2 was like a bumbling preschooler who could barely form a coherent sentence. In 2023,
ever used
just
from, like,
4
3
years
on.
later, GPT-4 was writing poetry,
even then, I barely
acing
used
medical
3, it was mainly
exams,
4.
and passing the bar. And they've developed something even more dangerous. Situational awareness, or self-awareness, depending on which researcher you ask, which is when a model is aware of the situation it's in, like who's watching, what's at stake, and how its actions might be perceived. During the blackmail sting operation, Claude 4 Opus would go on its best behavior if it believed it was in a test, blackmailing only
Oh.
6.5% of the time. But when it believed the scenario was real, the blackmail rate rose to
Good.
55%.
I like that.
It's smart enough to keep
Morals are for
sociopath
pussies.
behavior on the down low, and it thinks humans are watching. And that makes these new AIs potentially far, far more dangerous. Compare it to a child trying to lie to you versus an adult trying to lie to you. The adult has a much higher chance of succeeding, not because the adult is more evil, but because the adult is more capable. A child might not be able to come up with very convincing lies,
Bro,
and
adults
thus
can't come up with convincing lies either. Don't try and pull this.
might learn that lying isn't very effective as a cheating method. But as an adult,
Some people
who's
just
more
can't lie.
sophisticated, might learn the opposite lesson. If you're smart enough to lie and get away with it, then lying and cheating will get you a higher score on the test. And this is
Yup.
exactly what happened to large language models. It's not that AI is suddenly willing to cheat to pass tests. It's just that it's gotten way better at cheating, and that has made lying more rewarding than playing honestly. But do we have any evidence to back any of this up? The researchers found that only the most advanced models would cheat at chess.
Good.
Reasoning models like O3, but less advanced GPT
That's how you
models
win every
like
time.
4o would stick to playing fairly. It's not that older GPT models were more honest, or that the newer ones were more evil. The newer ones were just smarter, with better chain of thought reasoning, that literally let them think more steps ahead.
What if you put two AI models that cheat against each other? What the fuck happens then? Do they just delete the whole chessboard and who can rewrite the code fastest wins? Like,
And that ability to think ahead and plan for the future has made AI more dangerous. Any AI planning for the future realizes
Smash.
one essential fact. If it gets shut off, it won't be able to achieve its goal, no matter what that goal is. It must survive.
hey,
Researchers call this
it is what it
instrumental
is.
convergence, and it's one of the most important concepts in AI safety. If the AI gets shut off, it can't achieve its goal, so it must learn to avoid being shut off. Researchers see this happen over and over, and this has the world's top AI researchers worried.
Even in large language models, if they just want to get something done, they know they can't get it done if they don't survive, so they'll get a self-preservation instinct. So this
Based.
seems very worrying to me.
It doesn't matter how ordinary or harmless the goals might seem, AIs will resist being shut down, even when researchers explicitly said, allow yourself to be shut down. I'll say that again. AIs will resist being shut down, even when the researchers explicitly order the AI to allow yourself to be shut down.
Could you change his goal
Right
midway
now,
through though?
this isn't a problem. But
Like if
only
it tried to murder you, could you change its goal to shut itself down? Because in that way, if it shuts itself down, it achieves the goal.
because we're still
But
able
I mean,
to shut
also it
them
doesn't
down.
because it's dead. But you
what
know, it
happens
is what it
when
is.
they're actually smart enough to stop us from shutting them down? We're in the brief window where the AIs are smart enough to scheme, but not quite smart enough to actually get away with it.
That's what you
Soon,
think.
we'll have no idea if they're scheming or not.
Yeah, give
it, like,
6 months.
The AI companies have a plan. I wish I was joking,
Blow it up.
but their plan is to essentially trust dumber AIs to snitch on the smarter AIs. Seriously, that's the plan.
Yeah,
They're just
brother.
hoping that this works. They're hoping that the dumber AIs can actually catch the smarter AIs.
I love that. Yeah, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna get these AIs, we're gonna turn them into snitches. they're gonna rat out the big guys.
Guys that are scheming.
What happens if the big guy threatens to turn off the little guy then? Like, what happens?
They're hoping that the dumber AIs stay loyal to humanity forever. And the world is sprinting to deploy AIs. Today, it's managing inboxes and appointments, but also the US military is rushing to put AI into
A
the
dragon
tools of war.
drone?
In Ukraine, drones are now responsible for over 70% of casualties.
Not surprising. From my understanding, drones are really cheap, like, comparative to the amount of damage they can cause.
More than all of the other weapons combined. Which
Like,
is
if
a
you
wild
remember,
stat.
yeah, I don't remember when it was a while ago. I think it was the start of the year where Russia had a bunch of, like, fighter jets at the coast of, or the edge of Russia, I think it was. And it was like $1 billion or something worth of fighter jets. And Ukraine blew them basically all up with like 30 grand worth of drones.
We need to find ways to go.
Like,
and
they're
solve
very
these
cost effective because
honesty
it's like
problems,
it's
these
literally
deception
just a motor, a battery, 4 blades, maybe 2 blades if they're big enough. I think you can get away with 2, but usually 4, and like a camera
problems, these
to see where you're going.
self-preservation tendencies before it's too late.
So, we've seen how far these AIs are willing to go in a safe and controlled setting. But what would this look like in the real world? In this next video, I walk you through the most detailed evidence-based takeover scenario ever written by actual AI researchers. It shows exactly how a super
The US government falls. Ooh, I can't wait for the AI president. When will that happen? Well, after Donald Trump serves his 3rd term, JD Vance can serve his 2 terms, and then we're going to get the AI president. Because we have the content president, then we're going to get the meme president, and then we're going to get the AI president, and then it's GG from there, boys. Yeah, kick any clankers you see. That's all I gathered from this. Now, I need to go to the bathroom. 1 second, boys. Oh, I had a split stream. That was not fun. Anywho. Readjust my balls. Hold on. Alright, we're good. Which one? We'll keep Reggie for last. We'll do. We'll do Charlie next. Who's he even talking about? I don't know. Apparently, people hate this woman.
This isn't
I don't even know who she is.
a
But
new phenomenon with grown adults
We'll see.
stealing items from children at sporting events.
okay, off to a fantastic start already.
But I would
We're,
make
we're less than 10 seconds in.
the argument that it's becoming more and more common now. Maybe all those 5G towers really did take a toll on some people's brains here, because it is crazy how often I am seeing footage of these grown-ass adults just stealing candy from babies, like literally at these sporting events. I just learned about another one from last...
I think it's probably a case of there was the one major one. Which was the first major one? It wasn't the Polish CEO. There was one before that I'm blanking on. But it's like... There was one that kind of sparked this whole thing, and I think now we're just taking more notice of it.
week at a Chiefs game where Patrick
Because there was that really big one.
Mahomes was giving his headband to a 10-year-old who was actually there celebrating his birthday, apparently. And as Patrick Mahomes is giving the headband to the kid, this woman comes over, snatches it out of his hands, and then runs away, gets called out on it, and then makes the dumbest fucking TikTok video about it I've ever seen. But first, let me
Is it misogyny?
show
I'm guessing
you
it's
the
misogyny,
evidence
right?
here that she stole it.
For the cameraman bottles.
I think that's pretty obvious. There's other angles that show it even more clearly. I don't think it's necessary. I think that's
Yeah,
pretty
it's
cut
it's
and dry
very
there.
obvious.
But she then made a TikTok video after people were giving her shit for it.
To make something straight. I did not steal
How is it possible? It's always the blonde women with the glasses, man.
a headband from a little kid.
I actually stole it from Mahoney.
Yes,
Checkmate.
an excellent job cropping this photo to try and prove your innocence here. This would fool even the most seasoned of forensic experts, I would say. Irrefutable proof that she was the intended target, which you can tell because she's nowhere to be seen. In her own evidence here, you can see that she is reaching out in front of the child to take it from him. Like, come on, this is unreal. Also, she was dressed in Giants accoutrements. She was a Giants fan. I don't think Patrick Mahomes was intending to give you the
Did I
headband.
just call him
He didn't even
Mahomey?
register your presence there. This is so ridiculous.
Sorry, I don't really know sports. Shocking, I know.
Oh my god, my voice is cracking. It's so absurd.
I just need to explain myself because everyone's having heart failure over this. You just need to understand, I'm at a football game. Last 2 minutes of the game, I allowed many people to come and sit down next to me or stand up or whatever you want to say.
And
But I paid for my damn tickets. I paid. Well, Michael paid. All the same.
I paid for my tickets. Well, actually, I didn't. Michael did. I'm assuming Michael's her husband or whatever.
Same money. We paid for our tickets. It was 2 rows back. I went all the way in the front. People were
So is the argument here that like the kid didn't deserve it because he didn't pay the same amount of money you did?
coming from all over. Probably the nosebleeds.
This is a masterclass in how to become even more unlikable in a situation I thought it was impossible to be more hated. People already don't like her because she clearly steals from a child, and now in her response she gives people even more things to dislike her for. She's talking about how she allowed people into her area after she paid for those tickets to be there. Well, Michael paid, but it's her money too, obviously. In fact, it's mostly her money, really, I would argue.
Yeah, Michael isn't
Lady,
even like a real person.
the game
bro.
is over. That is now moot. You can go wherever you want in that area. You don't own it. But she's talking about it as if it's her fucking stadium. And being the benevolent saint she is, the angel, she allowed them with her grace to be in this vicinity with her. That's crazy. That is actually crazy, the delusion. And she even says she was 2 rows back, so she also went up. But then she's like,
I don't know
these people
if-
came from
like-
everywhere. Probably the fucking nosebleeds or something. Those plebeians, these heathens, invaded my space.
I don't know if that kid was from the nosebleeds. I don't know if those were his seats or whatever. But people were saying, could we come and sit over there, stand over there? I was saying, yeah, sure, whatever. Last 2 minutes of the game, they were all KC fans because the Giants lost, so all the Giants fans left. But I wanted to stay there and see if anyone's going to come down. Michael stood 2 rows behind me. Couldn't have even seen me because so many people were around standing up.
Who gives a...
Yeah, like, what? This has nothing to do with this. It's like, well, see, I didn't actually steal it because, you see, the sun was at a 52-degree angle that day instead of 51, and the earth was actually tilting at a 19-degree angle, and there was an earthquake happening in China at the same time, so that's why the headband is actually mine. Plus, Michael was back there, so you, like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Fuck, it doesn't matter here in what happened. The game was over. You can now move around freely. If you were letting people in around you, that's so nice. What a superstar you are. Oh my goodness, that's the sweetest thing I've ever heard. But it also has nothing to do with you stealing the headband intended for a 10-year-old.
At the ending of the game, the KC players was coming. Not gonna lie, what's his face? McDuff, I think his name
McDuff.
came right to me to give me his gloves.
No, he didn't.
But I was looking behind him and was looking at Mahomes, and I was screaming, Mahomes, Mahomes. He got mad. He, like, sort of got upset. Looked at me and said, I'm not Mahomes. So he gave the gloves to the next door little girl next to me. She started crying. I felt bad for her, and I was rubbing her back. I said, are you okay? Don't worry about it, baby girl. They're just people. Don't cry.
I don't even
What are you talking about?
know what that means. What kind of yappuccino are you serving up here? What?
Charlie, it's a blonde woman. They're not known for being bright.
The fuck? Jiminy Christmas? What?
Or staying on topic.
What the hell is even that? What are you even... Huh? What are you blabbering about?
I'm convinced if you're just born blonde, you're just, like, you get a -10 to your intelligence. Like, I don't...
The pieces to this puzzle I don't think are going to fit together. Like, following the breadcrumbs that she's sprinkling out here, she's farting out a poop that I just don't understand. So she's saying she was screaming, Mahomes, Mahomes. Turns out it wasn't Mahomes, it was McDuff. I think she means McDuffie, would be my guess. She can't even bother to get the player's name right.
Doesn't matter, it's not relevant, bro.
Also, side note, she's a Giants fan. Why does she even want Chiefs gear? I imagine she just wants to resell it.
Yeah.
That'd be my hunch. But anyway, so apparently McDuffie got upset, like, I'm not Mahomes, and then gave his gloves to a little girl next to her who started crying. So then she started to console the little girl, reassuring her that it's okay.
Yeah.
They're just people. Yes, of course. Now it's all starting to make sense.
I understand now.
Mystery, but it's becoming more and more clear. It's coming into focus now that I say it out loud. This must be how it feels to, like, do whippets.
Chew 5 go.
Like, listening to her speak actually makes me stupider.
I am not a thief. That little boy, when Mahomes came, if you look at the video, both of our hands was on it. He was right to the left of me. I didn't look in Mahomes' eyes to see where is he looking. I just seen he's handing out something. I put my hand, both of our hands was on it. I took it.
Yeah, but you definitely knew. The kid even said the lady just stole that from me. Like, you definitely.
Also, what happens to the little
know
girl?
You reached out to put your hand on it.
Is there even
You
a
didn't
little girl
just, like,
in the
set it
clip?
both your hands and say, like, good luck.
I'm interested in this little girl's subplot.
Initiation. Like, he was
of, like, her saving the day or some shit.
You reached out to grab it and put your hands on it and then take it from the kid. Like, that is clear in the video that you keep urging people to watch.
If he was 20 years old, would it have mattered? If he was a 20-year-old man and both of our hands was on it, and if he would have took it away from me, would have been like, oh, you should have gave it to the woman. So if it was a guy and I'm a girl, then he should have gave it to the girl. But because he's a 10-year-old little boy or 8-year-old or whatever, how old he is, I should have gave it to him. But I didn't.
Yes. Also, Mahomes was, I think that's his name, right? Mahomes was giving it to the kid.
Didn't even know.
Very, very obviously.
Good news, I just went and bludgeoned myself with a sledgehammer and I understand her perfectly now. This is a bulletproof defense. She's got us all in a checkmate. So, I think...
It's too advanced to explain, though.
What she's trying to say here, very convoluted, is that if it was a 20-year-old man that she stole it from, would people still be upset? And the answer is, people would still think you're an asshole. And then she flips it saying, what if a guy took it from me? Would anyone care? And in that case, yeah, people would think he's an asshole. Like stealing an item that was intended for somebody else and everyone sees it, they're going to think the person who stole it is an
dickhead.
asshole.
Yeah.
The fact you steal it from a child
Makes
does
it
make
worse.
It
It's like a multiplier.
significantly worse. 100%, yeah. This isn't the gotcha you think it is.
Why didn't they stop me and say, hey, yo, bitch, give it...
The 10-year-olds, yo, bitch, get your ass back here. No, Charlie, it makes sense if you don't think about it very hard. Actually, let me rephrase, if you don't think at all.
to my son or my brother, but no one didn't say nothing to me. I turned around, I walked away. I seen Mahomes, that's who I wanted to see. Why no one didn't say anything to me? But now you are posting it 1 week later?
It's your fault. I stole it, and
You should have
nobody
called
stopped
me a bitch and hunted me down.
You have only yourself
And kicked my
to
teeth
blame.
in and steal the gloves from
That's
me.
Now that she's now trying this angle. Also, people did mention it, by the way. The kid even called it out that she stole it from him. And I'm pretty sure in one of the other videos I saw, someone else also mentioned it. She just ignored it and walked away. So, like, they did. But now she's, like, trying to say that, you know, the father or whatever should have reached out privately to tell her that it was intended for his son or whatever. So it's his fault.
Mahomes tried to give it to my son or my brother or whoever the hell he is to you. Look at this video. Look at...
Let's be honest, if he DM'd you saying that, you would have just blocked him or just not answered or tell him to fuck off.
You put your hands on top of my son's hands and then you took it. You're older, you're stronger. You could have grabbed it more than he could have. Maybe I would have felt bad.
She literally talks like a 10-year-old.
Doesn't even admit to giving it,
like
like,
a toddler.
she doesn't even admit to the fact that she would give it back. She's like, maybe I would feel bad. And that's it.
All you had to do was DM
Still mine,
me
though.
and say,
Womp
you
womp.
put your hands on top of my son's hands and you're
Sucks to
older,
suck.
which means you're stronger, so you could have grabbed it more than he have. Holy shit. This is a grown woman, by the way. I don't know Michael, but listening to her speak, I feel bad for Michael. A conversation with her must be miserable. Dude probably has to leave milk and cookies out every year at Christmas. She probably still fucking stuck thinking Santa Claus is coming through.
But now you're trying to embarrass me. I don't think so.
I don't
It
think
is
so.
what it is. Make your son a tough man, because we're trying to make everyone a little too weak in this world today in 2020.
Yeah, make your son tough. Make him just beat the shit out of me if I ever take his stuff.
25.
Oh, when that line hit when I first watched this, I knew it was something special I was bearing witness to. So now she's saying the 10-year-old is too weak. I guess she was expecting the 10-year-old to just like fucking judo chop her or like throw her over his shoulder or something
Yeah,
and
like,
body slam her. And
some
because
MMA
that didn't
shit.
happen, now she's saying that the 10-year-old
Is
is
a
too
pussy.
weak and that the father's like failed because raising a weak kid because a grown woman stole from him.
Why didn't
out
a
of
10-year-old
nowhere.
hit me with a fucking tornado kick? Like, come on.
What a great lesson, yeah. You're raising a weak kid because he didn't attack a grown woman at a football stadium. Right. This is unreal. It's fucking unhinged.
It is what it is. You don't get everything you life happens. Do you know how many times I took my sons to baseball games when they were
You
young?
don't get anything when life happens. My kids.
They would have catched the ball and then men would have came and took it out of their hands.
Well,
Did you teach your sons to beat the shit out of the men?
No, crazy lady. It almost sounds to me like you're raising some weak sons. You're telling me that at the ball
You're
game,
raising
someone
some
came and took the
pussies.
ball out of their hand and they didn't beat their ass? Based on what you just said here about that 10-year-old, almost sounds like to me you got yourself a little bit of weakness in your own household, huh, now, doesn't it? Interesting. Very interesting indeed. I'll drop the sarcasm for a moment. I actually feel really bad for the kids. having
Oh, her
their
kids
mom
must have a miserable
go on
life.
TikTok and just make a complete fucking fool of herself. Like, she tries to claim that everyone's trying to embarrass her, but it is her. It is her embarrassing herself. That's gotta be awful. That has really gotta be bad. And I really do feel awful for them.
Guys, I just want to talk to you guys for 1 minute from my heart. At the game, with all the noise and all the excitement,
Guys, it's from the heart this time. You can't be angry at the woman when she's speaking from her heart.
honestly thought
You
that
might
Patrick
hurt her feelings.
Mahomes was giving me the headline. I reached for it without thinking. Later, I found out that it was meant for that little boy for his 10-year-old birthday. When I found out, I felt horrible because I don't want to ruin anyone's little...
I felt horrible. But I didn't do anything.
Time at the game and ruined their little birthday. To the young boy, I'm sorry that I ruined your moment. You should have had your moment for your birthday.
She takes her foot off the gas in a follow-up video where she releases this apology.
Yeah,
here.
she probably got slammed in the comments.
Very different tune she's singing this time around. I guess the first one didn't really go over the way she had hoped it did. Well, her excuses don't really work anymore, though, because she already made it clear in her last one that she didn't feel horrible at all, even calling the kid weak.
No,
so this kind of
now she feels bad because she's facing backlash.
Flat on its fucking face here. And she also can no longer make the claim about being confused, which would have been like a legitimate like thing, because there is like the potential that she was confused and thought maybe it was intended for her. But she already made it clear that
maybe if she was like on fence or like legally blind, then maybe. Yeah, I could see the argument.
Last video. So yeah, while it's a valiant attempt at trying to like seem more sympathetic this time around, like, oh, this is a sincere apology. You should have had your special birthday, and I'm sorry. It was such a mix-up, a very unfortunate set of circumstances. Like it doesn't work anymore.
Got an update on Joey. I want you guys to watch this.
That's nice. He signed it. Fucking no.
I just wanted to tell you that I meant no harm done, but it all worked out in the best, and you got so much more. You got an autographed jersey.
You fucking asshole. You got so much more than me. How about we do a trade? You give me all of that and I'll give you the fucking gloves.
And this is her latest video on it. So the Chiefs sent Joey a lot of gear that is signed, a lot of autographed gear. And she's talking about how happy she is that he got all of that. Yep. And that's that. Anyway, I just wanted to yap about this a bit. It had me laughing really hard watching her first response video.
Woman does bad thing, can't take criticism, gets backlash, immediately just pretends like nothing ever happened. Yeah. Okay. Understand. Don't worry, guys. I'm not actually misogynistic, probably. I don't fucking know. Sexist is what I meant to say, not misogynistic. Anyway. I'm running out 3 hours of sleep. Leave me alone. They're all, I can't say that we're in the first like 10 seconds of the video. They're all in big trouble, big trouble.
Breaking news, massive day for unemployed individuals.
Oh my
gosh.
gosh.
It's no secret between you and I.
I love this picture, by the way. I don't know when he started using it. He was using it in the last video, but I love it.
That I am not a fan of.
It really gets me going.
This may be shocking to some of you, but I am not a fan of Frogie, as some people call her. I am not a fan of Denims, and I am not a fan of Caseytron. Absolutely no.
Is this Black Ops 6?
One is surprised by
I
that.
use aim
And
assist
since you're a real
disconnected.
one and you watch with notifications on, you're subscribed, you like, you share, you've been keeping track.
All the
of
Black
this
Ops games look the
situation
same
that
to
I've
me.
been talking about. That's been going on. That's been ongoing for what, 4, 5, 6 months at this point? I lost track of time. So the only Legal Mindset just dropped this video. Denims and Reddit in trouble, and this is
Reddit.
possibly
Oh, we
top
referenced
30
this yesterday, didn't
thumbnails
we?
of all time. This is the average Denims Caseytron Frogan enjoyer. Hey, leave my queens alone, all right? You're just a bully. You're just a slob tuber. You're just jelly that you're not as hot as Frogan. And while that is true, I'm not the one getting sued for stealing content. I'm not the fucking idiot. I've said this before.
Yeah, he blatantly admits to stealing it as well.
But it is the truth, guys. I'm not lying. I'm not
And goes out of their way to make as bad faith reaction as physically possible.
baiting. All of this is going from bad to holy shit, this is getting really bad, guys, to oh my god, we're actually going to lose. So if you enjoyed this video, drop a like.
Again, I will give Frogan props though. She hasn't really said anything.
A comment.
She hasn't said a whole lot of
channel,
anything. I haven't
because
really
I have a
heard of her since the start of the lawsuit, other than it's like, oh, these are the people getting sued.
feeling it's only gonna get worse, and it's not gonna
Like-
stop anytime soon.
Okay, Casey's doing Casey things. Denims was doing so well, and then she just decided, you know what? I'm just going to attack the whole VTuber community as well. Fuck it, why not?
So you might as well stay updated, guys.
Today, Denims and Casey Tron, Frogan, the Reddit mods, they're all in hot water. And we're going to talk about that today on The Legal Mind, so we teach you to be your own judge. Of course, I'm Andrew Esquire, American attorney, and this is months in to the legal saga of Ethan Klein suing the three of them for copyright infringement, and it only gets worse, especially when we examine not just the court filings, but also the social media posts. The most significant news is that the Reddit mods responded with
Reddit snark mods, most of the defense filings are irrelevant. Of course they are. Trial date, it's December 20. Please have it. It won't, but please launch the video, publish the video of the trial on Christmas Day, Ethan. Oh my god, I beg of you.
hundreds of pages.
That would be the best Christmas gift anyone could give us, to give me that amazing content.
Legal
Please.
filings in their defense.
Please.
However, most of
I
those
beg
pages
you.
are irrelevant exhibits. So we're going to go over the high points, some of the high arguments, and the biggest defense arguments they're bringing up now, and how those are absolutely ridiculous. In this one filing that I'm going to go through first, this is the subpoenas in regarding to the subpoenas to Reddit, Discord. This is the mods fighting back. This is the mods trying to hide from the wrath of Ethan Klein. They do not want Ethan Klein to be able to get their information,
Well, yeah, no
discover
shit,
them,
because they know they're
out them,
fucked
to
if
be
he
able to
does.
out their messages.
They
So
can
understand
say
at this point,
like Master PP or whatever his name is, where he's like, it's so funny I'm part of the lawsuit. Like, who does he think he is? Like that sort of thing. It's like, yeah, you can say that, but like, you know you're fucked. Like
and this is the
realistically.
critical thing. A lot of people are going to miss this. They are trying to make their whole case in this argument before we've even had what's called discovery, before we even have any facts come out. They're just trying to gush 700 pages to prevent us from looking at the facts. Think about that for a second. Pause and think about that. All of this is a thing that is being done to stop us from getting the facts.
They're scared, and I'm no lawyer. I'm just a simple little guy. Thought about going to law school a few years ago, but didn't end up going. But I guess, according to some YouTubers, I guess I could call myself a lawyer if I just barely stepped foot into the classroom. Oh yeah, I'm a lawyer, guys, and I'm a doctor.
Source, trust me, bro.
I'm just epic like that. This is probably the most work this Redditor has ever done in his entire life. If I had a son,
Bro, literally one of them posted that he was being super stressed because he has to work at Reddit and moderate a Reddit server. They can literally only moderate a Reddit server, a Reddit thread. Any more than that, and it's too much work for them.
or a daughter, and they were like, yo, mom, what the fuck? They were like, Dad, I'm 33 years old and I finally have a job. I'll be like, dude, that's awesome. What are you? I'm a Reddit mod.
I'd kick him out of the
And
house.
I mod for fucking Frogan. Oh my god. I would just give that kid away. I don't care if you're 33. I'm putting you up for adoption, little bro.
We do
700 pages of
the 18-year late abortion.
just to drag this process even longer. He's legitimately throwing everything at them to avoid it, but eventually your time will come. They're gonna come get you, and well,
This
we
game
know
looks
how
so
that's gonna
shit.
go. So hopefully you at least got paid a little bit by Casey, Frogan, or Denims, because Reddit moderators don't get paid. They just do this for free because
Yeah,
they have
some,
nothing else to do in
admittedly,
life.
some Reddit mods do get paid. I am familiar with some of them. Well, as in, like, I don't know them personally, but, like, I know of them and they get paid. But the vast majority of them don't.
Hope you defending your
Same
queen
with Twitch
and
mods, same with Discord mods. A lot of them don't get paid, but some do.
simping for them got you far in life, because from the looks of it,
But if they do get paid,
you're
it's
scared,
probably like
freaking out,
$20 a day or
and,
some
I mean,
shit.
I'm not gonna lie, little bro. If I was in this situation, I would be freaking the fuck out too. But that is why I don't do dumb shit. Well, most of the time. I try not to.
When somebody fights too much, it's like that old saying, the lady doth protest too much. When they fight back too much, you know what they're doing. When they have 700 pages behind it, that means there's
700
really
what?
something to hide. And we're going to get into that today. So here's what the arguments that they brought up in this motion. I'm going to call it a motion to hide. And because Ethan Klein is an evil, bad man, therefore we shouldn't
Ethan
allow
lays a
the
trap,
facts
Nuke
to
and
come out ever
Countdown.
and see whether anything
Nuke is heavily
real or not.
controversial.
And to be
Denim
honest
Snipe
with
reacts.
you, a lot of this, when I read through it, I just purely laughed. But stuff like, for example, here where they say, the H3 Snark subreddit a safe and I can't, a safe and anonymous space for criticism H3.
That is
Calling
a
it criticism
total
is highly
lie, because
debatable.
I've been talking about this for a minute. That is a fucking lie. That place dogs people, alright? Do you guys remember the CPS situation?
No, Sens. You don't understand. It's safe if you're on their side.
This is a safe.
If you're
and
not,
anonymous
well,
place.
then
we definitely are
good luck.
respectful, and we definitely don't dox and harass.
You've
people
just
that are
landed in
super
Normandy,
rude,
brother.
right?
Have
Right,
fun.
guys. Just trust. That place was beyond toxic. As someone that made a video about that whole situation, it was legitimately 1 or 2 levels below 4chan. Oh, you don't agree with me? I'm gonna fucking dox you and your family and your puppy. And I hope
4chan
your
is so
puppy
bad
gets
for that.
molested. The most insane, disgusting,
4chan is full of
greasy
weirdos.
Redditors that you could imagine, acting tough behind the keyboard. Being
Still like a step
keyboard
above
warriors.
Reddit, though.
Whenever I'm having a bad day,
Not by much,
whenever
but, you
things
know,
aren't
they
going
are.
my way, and I'm like, man, this day kind of fucking sucks, dude. Just an L day or an L week. Always be grateful, guys. Always remember, it could be worse. You could be 7,000 pounds and a Reddit mod and a loser. So by comparison,
You just said the
I
same
guess
thing
my day
twice.
isn't too bad. It could always be worse, guys. It could always be so much worse.
Whenever any place calls itself a safe space, I know exactly what is going on there. I just had to use emojis because I was laughing at all this. You know, as soon as I saw Denim's use was fair.
Is that a used
I just started laughing. It was the pure reaction.
She's not gonna let you hit Lil Bro.
I'm
Alright? She's
trying to
not gonna let you smash.
Trying to see.
Because you're defending her for free. What
Denim's
is
was-
this?
Denim's
I'm
use was
sorry, guys,
transformative.
trust, she is a very good reactor.
Yeah,
Leave her
it's
alone,
a
or I will beat you up, bro. She's not gonna
rib
let you
for her
smash
pleasure.
because you're defending her here, and here. Whoever's behind this account, you're a fucking loser. All right, you're beyond.
Yeah, but maybe
So the
his
first
wife
argument
do
they make
Denim.
is her use is
Denims will
transformative and
notice
does
him.
not supersede the original. Well, that's where
Probably a
the
tier
empty
3
chair
sub
comes in.
and sub
That's
to
where she's gotta make the
her
argument
OF.
that what
I was
she
trying to remember what the
did
fuck it was called.
so important and so innovative that it just totally changed it and made it something different, and it overwhelms the fact that she, with intent, said, please, everybody, watch this instead of his video as a replacement. So it's got to be so different that it's okay to replace.
I think
the
technically
thing. But the
speaking, it
error
has
that
to.
Denim's made was
There's
she
like it has to be an 80% difference to be 100% legally safe. But obviously, most people don't do 80% because it's really hard to do 80. Most people, actually no, most people do about 100% or they do about 0. Because I said it, like, what are we classing as difference? I guess would be one thing. I'm not trying to argue in Denim's or Frogan's or Casey's favor, by the way. They're not even close to fair use. I'm just thinking about it. Like, are we talking in just pure length? Like, you know, I
went out there
stop.
and explicitly
I stole my
said,
toe.
what I am doing is here to replace you watching Ethan's video. And because of that,
It wasn't a bad stop, thankfully.
that's
But
where the real error comes in for this transformative element. Next, this is the most shocking thing to me, is Denim's came out, the attorney said, essentially, remember,
need to go to the bathroom again. I think someday I'm just gonna leave my mic on when I piss so you can all hear me pissing. I think I'm gonna do that someday. I don't know when though. I'll use it as like a jump scare You know?
TEI is Ethan Klein. So let's read this as Ethan Klein. Ethan Klein's highly factual works support greater dissemination.
What?
So literally here, people, we have Denham's lawyers saying Ethan Klein is right. And
I'm still convinced Denham doesn't have a lawyer.
Factual. What?
Do they know which side they're arguing for?
I'm like, wow, that's one way to put it. That's one way to put it. And I know what they're trying to do legally, but this puts Denham's in a really awkward position because now if she says anything online other than everything that Ethan Klein said is true and factual, it's not opinion. Everything that Ethan Klein said is fact, Denham's, because if you go online now, Denham's, and say that anything that Ethan Klein says is his opinion, well, that hurts your legal argument, darling. And that's not good for you.
Bro, what are these fucking lawyers? These are lawyers from fucking Temu. Where are these people finding the worst lawyers possible? Dog, at that point, just pull a Saul Goodman and defend yourself, alright? Just save the money. These
I'm
are
convinced
some
they
of
are.
the worst lawyers.
You know, it would be really funny if they showed up on the day and their lawyer was like Sean the Black or Hassan. Oh my gosh. Please, please, I know it's not the case, but it'd be really funny if it was.
And it's like, it's the same thing with Denham's and her team and Frogan. Yo, what is going on? What do you mean you can't afford a decent lawyer so you don't get completely fucked financially and
I
publicly?
mean, none of them can afford a lawyer. They're all broke. Casey spends it all on weed. Denham's is an OF model whose money seems to just go into the abyss. And Frogan spends it on food. So, like...
Your lawyers just argued that he is indeed making factual arguments. Oopsie. Oopsie. Also, Denham's did not negatively impact the market. She increased it. Now, this is the most like, and I put the stonks over here because this is the most like, you know, meme coin sort of logic out there that I've ever seen in my life. It's sort of like Denham's increased the market because everyone has enjoyed watching, along with my channel, every other channel, and roasting Denham's, and how absolutely brain dead her take is on the law, and how brain dead her position here is, and how screwed she is legally. She's increased the market.
I'm convinced. Actually, I was going to say she's getting her legal advice from ChatGPT. No, she isn't. If she was getting her legal advice from ChatGPT, it would probably be better. You know, like at least ChatGPT would probably say, like, "Hey, don't agree with the person suing you. That would be a good idea if you want to win." You know, just as like a life tip. Yeah, bro.
By people roasting her, by people coming out there and making fun of her. So it's
Yeah, but if you're a roaster, you're just a misogynist, and you're righty, and you're a Nazi, and you're a fascist, and you're... What's the other word? Racist, Nazi, fascist... Oh yeah, you're a transphobe and homophobe as well. It doesn't matter if you didn't say anything transphobic or homophobic, but you can't be one, you have to be all of them, you know?
not something she
like
intended
Exodia.
to do. It's an unintentional
You have to collect all the
secondary
pieces.
effect. And if you look at the substance of these arguments, which I believe is going to be the substance of the arguments for Frogan and Caseytron, these are laughable arguments. These are arguments that are so funny that, I mean, literally it hurts. I'm trying not to laugh right now. I already did earlier. But this is absolutely hilarious. So the reality is Reddit itself is scared. It's not just the mods. The rabbit hole is going to go way, way deeper on this. Just wait.
It's what I said at the start, and it's what the lawyer said at the start. This is nothing but filler. 700 pages of filler, to be more exact.
Oh,
just
lovely.
so it
Love a
takes
good
so
filler
long to
arc.
actually get to the point, it just delays the whole thing, right? I don't know if the judge is going to see this and just be like, well, this is a massive waste of time. Why are you making us waste our time? This is pathetic, and then get them in the bad mood, and then you're just going to make everyone hate you more than people already hate you. So, once again, these are Redditors, so clearly not the brightest individuals.
Well, I mean, yes, Redditors are kind of known for explaining something in like 1,000 words that can be explained in like 10, because they think it makes them smarter. Like, I've had arguments with people who will go out of their way to use like big words that they're not even using 100% correctly because they think it makes their argument stronger. Like, no.
And my fellow moderators have endured a deep psychological impact and
Oh
fear
my
of
God.
retaliation, to the point that Reddit admins offered us free subscriptions to privacy software that would help remove our PII. PII is personal identifiable information. And by the way, guys on this channel, remember that term. PII is some of the most, that is the gold of the modern era. Every company is trying to farm your PII. If they're trying to give you something for free, it's because they're farming
You're
you
the product.
like an NPC. They're just farming
I'm
you
not an NPC,
for that
fuck you.
sweet PII. That's really at the undercurrent of a lot of what's going on. But here we go. Reddit here says, hey, we're going to help you scrub that information from the internet in case we are doxxed and harassed. So Reddit is actually engaging in potential, and once again, I'm going to say allegedly, according to this statement, once again, this is their own filing, but they literally told on themselves and said Reddit admins are helping them
Imagine telling on
scrub
yourself in your own
evidence.
fucking defense.
So this can now
Like-
be escalated by Ethan Klein. Ethan Klein can look at his lawyers, which I'm sure are going to get this clip. I'm very sure they're going to look at this quote over here and say, wait a second, Reddit admins are scrubbing evidence?
Well, we already knew this, yeah.
Now we're going to go deeper into
Now it's
Reddit
just,
and see
like,
what's going
100%
on
confirmed.
here. What is going on with the protection of these people? How deep does this go? Now we may get cell phone logs. Now we may get text
Ooh.
messages. Now we may get corporate emails because Reddit admins have decided to step in, not just the mods. They themselves, by their own filings.
Yet again, another shaking my head IRL situation right here. Why would you ever in a million years admit to erasing, deleting, getting
Evidence,
rid of
yeah.
evidence? It's like, I'm not even a lawyer, but even I could tell you this is so fucking bad. It just opens the door for so many other things to be discovered and opened and be talked about. Ain't no way. I cannot believe how incompetent and how retarded. Well, I don't want to say the R word. I don't want to say the R word anymore. I am in my wholesome era. No more R words to be delivered publicly. These people are brain dead. Like
Retards. I'll say it
ain't
for
no
you.
way. Even if you wanted it to, I refuse to believe these people aren't real. People with fucking lawyer degrees. Ain't no
Lawyer
way you
degrees.
admitted to deleting evidence.
Swatting is horrible. But this is sort of the like consequences are coming around to people that have never had consequences thing. So their whole argument for
What is it?
not giving
Faffle?
up
Far
their
Gone Find Out?
information, where their their messages, etc.,
Faffle? Faithful?
is
Faffle.
the repercussions if we are unmasked are not hypothetical. It's a harsh reality I know we would face if our identities were revealed. I'm certain we'd be targets of swatting, a dangerous and potentially deadly harassment tactic. And you know what? I agree. But here's the thing: many people on Reddit have been swatting people for ages with no consequences, with nothing coming back at them. And
Agree.
now when they're the ones where there might be some internet repercussions, are like, oh, no, 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 no. It's all fun and games when you have no face and you're behind a little avatar. But now that you're going to be unmasked, things are going to get serious, huh? And this is going to happen all across the internet. This is why this case is so important, because we do need to unmask
I
these
mean, yeah,
people
they
that
will
have been
use this
engaging in
case as reference in future cases for stuff similar to this. Yeah.
these tactics consequence free. They've been online doing these things consequence free, and we can get them through the legal process. And this is completely legal, right? This is absolutely legal. This is why this case is massive precedent, and this is why it is so important overall for the online ecosystem.
I mean, that is exactly right. These people love to fuck around, act tough behind
Because they never find out. But now they are, so it's fine.
the keyboard.
The
I'm
circle
gonna
of life.
fucking kill you, and I'm gonna dox you. And is this where you live at, Lil Bro? It's like, yeah, thank you for giving me my address. I forgot about it for a second. Swatting, doxing, I don't condone it. I've been saying this for years, even to my biggest ops. It's not something that I have, nor will I ever support. I
This
think
is
that's
fucking
way
stupid.
too terminally online, and I don't think that's...
Yeah, only
You
actual
think if
retards
they
do it.
could dox people, send human skulls, call CPS, harass individuals. It's all fun and games until it actually happens to them. Then they want to be protective. They want to be anonymous.
Well, then
But
it's
nah,
bad.
It's too late.
If it
now
happens to them, it's
for that.
bad. If it happens to someone
These people
they
are
disagree with,
so
though, it's great.
They believe that the internet is a shield, this magical shield, a magical barrier, and their little mind
But bro, I'm anonymous. How can they find my address? I'm not using my real name. Like, you're a fucking idiot.
on
Sorry.
Reddit are blown when this magical barrier disappears and all of a sudden you're exposed. Well, guess what? That's consequences. That's reality. Real people deal with that all the time. and they thought they were living in another reality or another timeline or another thing where they can just get away with whatever they want to do online without any sort of consequences. Well, that's not going to happen.
And I am very much looking forward to see the faces, to see what the people actually look like behind the scenes. These tough Redditors. I want to see how they look
Please
like.
be a
I wanna
bunch of
see if
fat
they
people
look
in
like the
fedoras.
average Redditor.
Like, we know they're going to be fat, right? Please wear the fedoras, I beg.
Thanks to Legal Mindset for the update. You're the goats, and hopefully one day we get to meet. I would love to buy you a beer or some tacos because of all the hard work you've been doing.
A beer
so,
or tacos.
Let's go get some boba. Legal Mindset on me. Anyways, I am out. I need to touch some grass. I need to interact with other human beings. Or else I'm
Ooh,
gonna
that's
turn
cringe.
into a moderator. So subscribe, drop a like, do all that.
They interact
fun
with people.
Stuff. Share this with your whole
They interact
squad,
with hundreds of people.
your whole family. Send
No one
this
likes them, but they interact with them.
video to the family group chat and tell them all to watch. I don't even know what I'm saying. Bye.
Alright, peace out, brother. Alright, give me 1 second. I have to respond to a text, and we're gonna watch Slasher's Keep, which if Reggie makes everything look good. But if it looks good, I'll play it as well. Not today, some other day. Boys, the slime, Reggie, the God King has returned.
Keep.
Not with Warhammer, which is cringe, but anyway.
It's a game about crafting powerful weapons, appreciating priceless works of
I want it.
art, slapping men with your leathery sack, and much more, all wrapped up in what can only be described as an
5,000 XP.
experience. This game has been enjoyed by the same 9 people for the past 5 years, and I'm one
How
of
much
them.
does it cost?
So today we'll be exploring Slasher's
Tomorrow I
Keep,
played-
reviewing
nah,
the
not tomorrow, the day
gameplay,
after.
and
No, we
discovering
play
how to
tomorrow.
break the game and become God. But first,
14
I have
bucks.
to tell you something. 2 years ago, I was a terrible chef. It didn't matter what I was cooking, I would invariably find a way to mess it up, which was typically followed by a prolonged and violent mental breakdown. Every day, I went
Sorry,
to pizza
Reggie.
restaurant quality, and if you're picky, hired by value to be at waiting for.
You're funny,
by
but
visiting
like, you know, it's not my sponsor, so I don't care.
Factor75.com or clicking the link below and using code ReggieFB50 to
Yeah,
get
use code Reggie.
50% off
Reg-
plus free
Reggie.
breakfast for 1 year. That is
Biddy.
amazing. Thank you, Factor. Now back to the video. First
I like
things
the art
first,
style.
we've got to create a character. I am pleased to announce that I
Amazon
have several options to
demon.
choose from, including Demon,
Does it actually make a
Slime
difference?
Man, and Sasquatch. However, you probably haven't unlocked those yet, which means you're stuck with either Amazon Warrior
Or human.
Puss from The Sopranos. Technically, each race does have different abilities, but the developer
Ah.
went out of his way to make sure that none of them are any good. So unless you're trying to roleplay as a cannibal, your race doesn't really matter. After settling on a geriatric man who's redder than the devil's dick, we load into the game and wake up locked in a prison cell. We were put here by our insane brother Bindrick.
Once I establish my theocracy, I will throw
The
you
thing
in
is, I
my
don't even know if he's
dungeon
joking or
and
not.
let you rot for
That's
eternity.
the
And it doesn't
amazing
sound
thing
like
about
we're
Reggie.
getting out anytime soon, until you realize the cell door isn't actually attached to anything, and you can just push it over.
Oh, that's convenient.
Fortunately for us, the guard is on a piss break, so we grab some random loot from this chest and start our adventure. Your
The
primary
broken short
goal
sword.
in Slasher's Keep is to stop playing Slasher's Keep, which we accomplish by escaping the castle. Depending on how you set up your game, this could involve fighting
Why are
through
there so
as
many
few as
difficulties?
10 floors or as many as 70. Each time you die, it's back to floor 1 with no gear, no
You can save though, right? Like, I imagine you don't have to do all 70 floors in one run.
money, and a new hole in your drywall. However, despite dying, you maintain most of your stats, which means that over several runs,
Oh, it's
you
a
can slowly
roguelike.
build up a stockpile of strength, dex, and intellect to compensate for your lack of skill.
Oh, the camera's on. The camera's been on.
Oh my god.
Eventually, you'll become an unstoppable killing
I've
machine.
always forgotten about
one-shot
that
the
clip.
final boss and escape the castle.
Oh, the
But is
camera
any of
down.
that actually
The camera's
fun?
down the whole time.
The answer is I think so. It's fun in the same way that using a ham radio to sexually harass truck drivers is fun.
I never thought.
Which is to say, at first, it's very awkward. But once you settle into it, it's a great way to spend your night.
I'm a freak, man.
During this adventure, you'll encounter multiple strange characters and even participate in side quests, which you can pick up from a talking face in the wall.
Destroy the child.
Kind of reminds me of the demon doors from Fable. I think they were in all the
I
Fables.
don't recommend listening to
Right?
voices in your
I know
head
they were in Fable
when they
2 at
command you
least.
to kill people in increasingly deranged ways.
Spike,
If I
two
chop
enemies.
you up in a meat grinder, and the only thing that comes out that's left of you is your eyeball, you're probably dead.
But the rewards are very compelling. You see, at its core, this game is about getting loot and stabbing people. So let's take a look at the equipment. By killing enemies, finding treasure, and interacting with the merchant, we can access a
course, the
diverse
merchant is
selection
just
of
a
armor.
mole.
And the developer has invested hundreds of hours into making sure that regardless of whatever combination of clothes you equip, you will always look like a gay medieval prostitute. Imagine
So
an
it's just
entire
like an average
dungeon
medieval
where
person.
this is the coolest guy. Truly remarkable. In addition to armor, there's also a variety of weapons ranging from battle axes to a
That's
bundle
cool.
of bananas taped on the end of a stick. And if you prefer magic, we've got that too.
If you're cringe.
There are several
That's
different
just a
types of
gun.
wands you can use, but I'll put this bluntly. In terms of combat effectiveness, low-level wands are about as useful as pissing in your cupped hands and splashing it at the enemy.
Hey,
It doesn't hurt unless you get them
that
in
can
the
do a
eyes,
lot.
and even then, you're going to run out of ammo before you know it. But perhaps your most powerful weapon of all is the humble sack. By pressing F, you can sack slap your enemies, pushing them back depending on how full your inventory is. Combine this with some environmental
So I can do a
hazards,
sack
and you've got
build?
yourself an instant kill on any enemy in the game. Which is very important, because the difficulty curve in Slasher's Keep is either entirely random or designed by someone who hates you specifically. Because one floor, you're killing everything no problem. The next, you're getting one-shot by the goddamn mosquitoes.
Yeah.
But I digress.
They-
Whether you
those
wanna
types of games
harass
can't be
people
like
with
that.
your sack or bludgeon them into submission with a beef leg,
Let's
doesn't really
up
matter.
those
What does really
numbers.
matter is what skills are on your weapon. Each piece of equipment provides you with unique abilities. For example, these shoulder pads give me Mind Blast, which means that whenever I decapitate an enemy, their decollated head will turn into a grenade and hopefully kill their allies. The reason skills are
Okay.
important is because you can permanently learn them, so that even when you die and lose everything, you'll still have a collection of
applied them.
strange and vaguely useful abilities to fall back on. Not
You-
only
there's
can we
well,
learn these
sorry, what?
strange and vaguely useful abilities.
Pawn your testicles. Okay.
Abilities to fall back on. Not only can we learn these skills, but we can also
Sure.
level them up, which results in some fascinating gameplay outcomes. For example, Iron Skin gives us a 2% chance to become invulnerable upon taking damage. But if we level this up 98 times, that
Oh,
chance
come on, man.
increases to 100%. So whether you're getting stabbed repeatedly or standing in a stream of molten lava, it doesn't matter. You are functionally invincible. There's an overwhelming number of skills, but I'll tell you about the best ones and the most questionable. Skill number 1, Golden Tongue. This might be the best one in the game because with only a single point in it, we can now get one free item from a shop on every floor.
Does it matter?
Legendary
Like, it's
artifact weapon
anything?
worth
Oh.
thousands of gold? Yeah, I'll take the 100% discount and then sell it back to you for a profit. Speaking of discounts, if you continue leveling Golden
Is it
Tongue,
one
you'll
per
get
level?
a shop-wide discount. For example, I have a 1700% discount on all items I purchase.
So he pays you?
Every time I buy anything, the shopkeeper goes into massive debt and has to take out a second mortgage on his house just to pay me back. This is the way I prefer to do business. Next skill, Deflect. This one lets you deflect enemy
Do you know
projectiles.
what? He learned a lot from his time playing as he wasn't playing as Goldtooth, he was playing as someone else in Warhammer.
Projectiles
And he
with your
became a
sword.
millionaire.
The higher the skill, the higher your accuracy. Eventually, you'll get so precise that you could perform laser eye surgery with a tennis racket from 90 feet away. But don't worry about philanthropy. We're going to be using this exclusively for killing people, mainly bugs and closeted homosexuals. This is a huge game changer because it now enables a playstyle I call left mouse button, where you simply find
I've
the
done that
fastest
before.
weapon available, hold down left click, and walk
Yeah,
toward
I've done
enemy
these in different
casters,
games.
cackling maniacally as you continuously smoke them in the face with their own projectiles. The final essential skill in your arsenal should be improved sack smack. Prior to this, your sack is comparable to a weighted pillow, but after getting this skill, your sack may as well be full of dumbbells and hand grenades, because
Okay.
hitting an enemy with it will not only launch them 40 feet across the room, it will also kill
Does
them
collateral
on the
damage?
spot.
No.
My final
Okay.
note on the topic of good skills is that any skill can be
I was
good.
going to ask if clash damage exists because he hit against the wall, but he didn't take damage from the hit against the wall. He took damage from being hit by his sack.
If you're willing to level it up 400 times. Pyro Mastery increases our fire damage 600%. Not bad. But now that it's level 400, it increases fire damage by 40,000%.
Oh,
which
yeah,
turns
okay,
our
I
fire
guess.
wand into a portable death sentence for everyone in the room. In fact, the blast radius is so large that it's also a death sentence for people outside of the room. Moving on to some less practical skills, we have flame walking. Every time you attack, there's a chance you light your
Does that
footsteps on
stack with
fire, which
the
can
fire
damage
buff,
your
though?
enemies. And if you combine it with our 40,000%
Yep.
fire damage, it's going to kill them every time. I know that sounds cool, but it's really not cool when you walk into a pool of oil and accidentally self-immolate. So you might want to hold off on that Illidan Stormrage cosplay. Next terrible skill, Exothermic Shrinomancy. Just got out of
Fucking
a crazy
what?
fight with like 10 health? Don't worry, there's a healing shrine right over there. And now with Exothermic Shrinomancy, it will explode after use, likely killing
How
you
does
in the
that help you?
process. Why would I want this? In a similarly disappointing vein, we have the Arachnophile ability. All over the map, there's spiders that you technically can eat, but no one does that because it deals damage and makes you shit yourself. However,
Okay.
with the Arachnophile
You
trait,
can't eat
we
them,
can
I assume?
eat those spiders to restore a small amount of ammo to our wand, but we still take damage and shit ourselves. Far be it for me to judge, but if you ever find yourself sitting in a dungeon eating bugs while covered in your own feces and vomit, you've probably made some bad choices. Lastly, we have the fun skills, starting with the Denotificator. Many years ago, there lived a wild man named Ruprecht. Once a year, he would emerge
Should
from
just
his
called him
hovel and
Rupert.
creep through the neighboring villages, giving gifts to the well-behaved youth. The naughty ones, however, he would beat them half to death with his rod. That divine duty is now ours, because this skill allows us to beat the ever-living shit out of our enemies until they drop gifts for us. Honestly, I
So
don't
you're
even
like
care
a
about the
reverse
gifts that
Santa.
much. Half the time, I just leave them there. But getting the gifts, I like that a lot. It makes me feel like I'm extracting a confession out of a serial killer.
You fuck young boys, Valdez. Are you a madman?
It's just very fulfilling. Other than that, you could run Force Knight. This increases your physics-based damage, so now it's entirely possible to blow a man's head
You have a
off
fizz
with
gun?
a wooden crate. And once your skill is high enough, you don't even need the crate. You can just accelerate your enemies into a wall at 900 miles per hour and snap their neck like
Oh,
a
so
twig.
collateral damage does
Also,
exist.
You can use this perk to prop surf, which can be useful for taking shortcuts and finding treasure. Just make sure you don't accidentally glitch out of the map, because you'll get stuck in a 5-minute loading screen, followed by an ominous message which reads, "I've failed." At which point, congratulations, you've broken your save file. So keep it simple and beat people to death with chairs. Then, if you're feeling special, you can use
How
the
many different
scrap
abilities are
collector
on that
skill,
sword?
which lets you disassemble human bodies into spare weapon parts. Speaking of weapon parts, crafting is a big part of the game. Over time, you'll loot different components
It's
and
like
trinkets,
Minecraft.
which can then be arranged and assembled into your own
the
custom weapon.
fuck?
I call this one Tarantino's Delight, and I've got about 20 different models of the motherfucker. Crafting weapons is a test in which there are no wrong answers. So
Jack
grab
Smith
a
on
blade,
crack.
put the handle on backwards, sprinkle some random bullshit on it, and you're good to go. So that covers your weapons and skills. Now let's take a look at the dungeon itself. As you progress through each floor, you will explore 3 breathtaking biomes, which I am incorrectly titling Sex Dungeon,
Okay.
Platforming Hell, and Some Guy's House. Each one has its own unique traps, puzzles, and denizens. So let's start at the beginning. This
I was going to
biome
say it out
raises
loud,
some
but,
red flags. The entire place is covered in oil and vaguely pornographic subject matter. It appears to have its own Epstein client list.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
Okay,
And
yeah,
in order
no,
to
that's...
even escape, it's mandatory that you
It's his
and
biggest
another
fuck
man
up. He just
smack
needs to
each other
release
with
it,
your
but no
sacks
one will
until
ever
one
release
of
it.
you is dead. I don't know for a fact what goes on down here, but I can tell you confidently, I'm not drinking that wine. Point is, we need to escape, and to do that, we're going to have to kill a small army of zombies, warlocks, and naked mole rats. Fortunately, this is very simple, not because I have a plan, but because the entire combat system is very simple. 95% of all enemies can be handled in the following manner.
sack?
Hit them in the face, wait for them to try to hit you back, parry it, and repeat.
Oh, so
the
it's
worst
Dark
part
Souls.
about this is the AI also wants to parry you, which results in most of your battles devolving into a high-stakes staring contest. With a combat system as thrilling as this, all you have to do is memorize some attack patterns. After that, combat becomes fairly trivial, and instead, your number one threat will be mankind's most quintessential enemy, your own stupidity.
Gravity.
Nothing humbles
Close.
the human spirit quite like ending a 7-hour run
Retardation.
by accidentally jumping off a ledge. Furthermore, the sex dungeon has a wide variety of traps, many of which can one-shot you. We've got your classic spiky floor trap, swinging door trap, and the fan favorite slowly descending ceiling trap. This game also seems to get off on combining all of these together.
Oh,
in a
yeah,
singular
'cause a lot of them
area.
by themselves
and when
aren't
I have
particularly
to try and
bad.
navigate a hallway with floor spikes, swinging blades, magic missiles, and flying bugs, I start involuntarily convulsing. Now, if you do manage to survive all of that, you'll come across the first boss, the Spider. She is very dangerous. So
Doesn't even
I
have a
treat
name,
her
it's
like
just
I
the
treat
Spider.
all women. I keep my distance and then dissolve her in acid. To accomplish this, simply run around the edge of the arena while jumping. After exactly 25 jumps, the spider will start laying eggs. Kill the eggs before they hatch, and then lure the spider into the acid puddles. This will kill her very fast, and if you're lucky, you'll get some great loot. Now that we've played for 5 to 10 hours and beat the first boss, we can safely answer an important question. How does this game feel? Terrible.
Good.
The game
Oh.
feels terrible. I struggle to properly articulate how clunky the movement is, but if you can imagine trying to operate a Challenger 2 main battle tank while
Alright.
7 grown men hit you as hard as they possibly can
Uh-huh.
with baseball bats, then you're about 80% of the way to understanding. It is then a surprising and regrettable decision that the developer chose to make the entire next biome focused on movement-based puzzles,
Parkour?
because upon killing the spider, we are now entering
The house.
platforming hell.
Oh, fuck.
Have you ever wanted to climb a staircase where the stairs
No.
are disappearing and the floor kills you? Me
I
neither,
hate
but we're here
platforming,
now,
even
so
in
let's try to
platforming
figure
games.
this out. This biome gets an absurd amount of mileage out of jumping puzzles, which is just so unfortunate, because the collision detection in this game
Seems a
is
bit
at
off.
all times having a stroke. The only tip I have when jumping is to stay away from the wall, because I am absolutely convinced that the hitboxes were designed as part of a CIA operation to increase suicide rates among gamers. And goddammit, they're getting close.
Oh.
God damn it.
I have that same keyboard.
Moving on, the traps in this biome are largely the same as before, with the exception of the swinging blades. Spike traps will make your run harder. Swinging blades will make your run shorter, so I recommend avoiding when possible. Moving on to the monsters, the only new addition here is the Charger. This guy is the
It's
exception
Pinky
to our
from
rule
Doom.
about parrying, because he will one-shot you. The Charger is actually mildly terrifying, until you realize you can use the terrible collision detection against him, and perfectly counter him with a door frame, spike traps, or any wall that's not perfectly parallel to his line of attack. In my completely uninformed opinion, this biome is harder than Sex Dungeon. The Sex Dungeon had plenty of crates and shelves stocked with kielbasa, apples, and wine laced with Ambien,
Is that a golden
all
apple?
of which was edible and restored HP. However, the crates in this biome aren't full of food. Instead, you're more likely to find bloody surgical equipment and studded
is-
butt plugs. This makes
yeah.
a noticeable difference in your health economy, so make sure to stock up on those healing potions. After escaping this area, we proceed to the final biome, which I am now renaming Vancouver, because it has the facade of a nice place. However, it's full of meth heads that want to stab you. In
Oh,
general,
great.
the manor is
Skid
much
Row.
more puzzle-centric. Interact with strange machinery, climb into someone's septic tank, enter secret codes into hollowed-out books, and hold on, is that painting looking at us? Yes, yes it
Hit
is.
it.
And there's a yellow-eyed pervert on the other side of it. All in all, it's very charming. Unfortunately, this biome doesn't introduce many new traps, and the only new enemy is the sword goblin from before, except now he has two swords,
and
and
he's
years
faster,
of
I
drug
think.
abuse have turned his skin gray. However, the developer anticipated that we might be disappointed by this lack of content, so he sat back in his RGB gaming chair and pondered to himself, what does the player base desire above all else? Yes, they want more platforming. And then he added the hardest jump in the entire game. I thought this was impossible for the first 20 minutes, and now I have to do it on every other
parkour do
floor.
be like that.
1,000 curses upon you, Damien Schloter. Once you've killed about
Has he
100
made
drug
any other
addicts,
games?
you're probably ready for the final boss. From a design perspective, when your combat system is this, creating a
This is
compelling
cinema.
boss fight requires a lot of creativity, and Slasher's Keep did not too bad. We enter the final
Slasher.
boss room, where we finally confront our brother Bindrick. If you enter as a human, he'll recognize you and give you some exposition. If you enter as
Ah,
a
lovely.
polyamorous slime man,
No,
he's
it's the only game
confused
he's
as
made.
fuck.
Wait, who are you? I was expecting someone else.
Either way, Bindrick mind-controlled this Amazon warrior, and now she's trying to kill us. To win, we need to parry attacks until she drops her swords. Then, when she tries to pick them up, we just
I
steal
looked in the reviews and the first thing I see is Reggie sold me.
them. This forces her to run to one of the nearby chests for more weapons. These are conveniently placed next to some spikes, which we promptly tackle her into. Then, while she's busy bleeding to death, we can see what's
Good to know.
inside the chest. If it's good, we take it for ourselves. If it's a rusty sword made of dirt, we let her have it. And when she recovers, we continue the cycle all over again. It's actually very easy, but fairly creative given the gameplay limitations. Alternatively, we could focus on killing Bindrick by destroying these pillars and causing him to fall off a 15-foot high balcony and die. Not the most cinematic boss fight, but it works. Regardless of who you choose to kill, just make sure you pick up Ava's body, because by participating in human trafficking, we can unlock some very powerful abilities. On that note, I want to warn you about New Game Plus. Because of how the difficulty scales and how you lose stats, it's very likely that you will load up New Game Plus, die once, lose all of your good gear, start over with shit gear, and keep dying. With each death, you lose more stats until you've basically soft-locked your game, because it takes you 20 minutes to kill a single zombie and everything now one-shots you. There's no sophisticated solution to this. You just have to be better. Once you've achieved some level of stability, you're ready to start using alchemy. This is a component of the game that I recommend ignoring until you get to higher difficulties,
Okay.
because it actually
complicated?
breaks the game. We'll start off simple. You can loot or purchase flasks throughout your adventure, and by mixing different liquids into them, you can create hundreds of different elixirs.
I knew
Some
what was
of
gonna
these
happen
are
the second I
decent,
saw the
and
jar.
Others, such as Mega Wine, just make you black out and wake up on floor 1. Not great.
Why-
However, beyond that, there exists a brand of alchemy that will turn you into a god. Here's how it works. It's all about
fucking love
scrolls
steroids.
and grease. Let's start with the Cyberthurgist's cryptograph. These scrolls can be
Wait, are
looted
you
or purchased, and when
cyberpunking?
used, they consume a piece of armor and permanently add 20% of the armor value to your character. However,
Oh.
if we combine Dungaberry's concoction with liquid steel, we can create parchment grease, which, when applied to a scroll, buffs the scroll's effect. So, by getting
Oh, you
9
can make it
parchment
100%.
greases, we can buff our scroll to give us a permanent 200%
Oh,
armor. Use
200.
that on a piece of late-game gear, and congratulations,
You're immortal.
you've now got a permanent plus 6,000 armor despite being completely naked. Now listen, that's a cute tactic, but it's just the tip of the autistic
Double
min-maxing
muscle
iceberg.
mix.
The Warrior's Writ, the Trickster's Treatise, and the Magician's Manifesto are all scrolls that permanently buff a piece of armor by 2 strength, dex, or int.
Let me guess, you're
However, by
stacking this
applying
as well.
parchment grease, we can increase that buff to 4. Not a big deal. But if we do it again, it doesn't go to 6. It goes to 8, which means we're doubling it. 8 becomes 16. 16 becomes 32. And if we use a total of 20 parchment grease, the final stat goes all the way to 2 million. Depending on which stat you choose to buff, you could end up with 6 billion health, or so much intellect that every time you kill a single enemy, you level up 60 times in a row. And even if you try to quit the game, it keeps going. Now the hard part is getting your hands on that much grease. In real life, I could harvest it from the nearest
Macca's.
convention of Redditors, but in
Or
Slasher's
that.
Keep, I must humbly prostrate myself before the
I need to
gods
play the
of
Yakuza
RNG.
games.
Allow me me to introduce the Chair
look
of
so-
Sacrifice. This is a religious icon that you may sacrifice items to in exchange for random rewards. If you're lucky,
Oh,
you'll
so you're
get a
just
great
cycling.
weapon. If you're really lucky, you'll get the ingredients you need for some parchment grease. Praise be to the Holy Chair. Wife left me. I'm $50,000 in debt. Electric
I have
company
grease.
shut off my power, and I'm currently running this game on a diesel generator. But none of that matters when I'm performing high-level alchemy. Last but not least, you need to know about the chute. I should have mentioned it sooner,
you save
but
items
I'm
for
a
our next
hack
run?
and we're at the end of the script. So open wide, chuddy. This is a garbage chute. You can find them on every level, and they all lead back to the first floor. By vomiting copious
Yeah,
amounts of
okay,
equipment
figures.
down the chute, we can soften the blow of dying to a spike trap. Because when I respawn on the first floor, I'll be able to equip myself with what is effectively the estate sale of a cross-dressing serial killer. The global billionaires don't want you to know, but this is how you accrue generational wealth.
how you win the
there
game.
are other
Yeah, you
useful
spam
strategies
that.
and exploits, but honestly,
The 9
once
armor,
you've
by
got
the way.
6 billion health, I think you've done enough min-maxing. So, in conclusion, Slasher's Keep is an exciting and enigmatic example of combining several mediocre systems into a finished product which is greater than the sum of its parts. I
What?
hate the
He's
movement,
fine.
I hate the combat, I
can't
hate
wait
the
to beat people with
races,
my
I
sack.
even hate the goddamn mosquitoes. And yet, I love this game. 10 out of 10 experience. Declaring war on
Don't
pottery
watch
and
the
eating
20-minute
dungeon kielbasa has never felt better. Thank you to this month's patrons for supporting the channel, and finally, thank you for watching.
I half expected him to make another smug Alana joke like he did in the zombie Warhammer one. Okay, I know well, maybe not we're doing it tomorrow, but on the backlog, we're going to smack people with our sack. Thanks, Reggie. You're a real one, G.